unless you believe in England, how can you be English? If you don't believe in Britain, how can you be British? So I think that's destroyed the essence of it. I go back to my first point. I think it's also the fact that all Western countries now are all coming together and there's hardly any differences between them. So that's blurred the lines. But I think you're right. One of your first points you made, it's down to the invasion of this country,
Yeah,
politically, culturally, physically, and politically.
yeah,
That now has destroyed any sense of belonging, because how can you have a world power, a world government, no borders, if you still allow people to identify to a piece of land? That
yeah,
has to stop. Otherwise, we can't have a world socialist utopia. And I
yeah,
think that's the crux of it for me.
yeah. And I think, well, I totally agree with your first point about nationhood and protecting nationhood. But the question I was, the thing I was, the point I was trying to make was if you're protecting Britishness or Englishness, whatever it is. Um, by the way, well, anyway, we won't talk about that. Then I think it's just a question of trying to put in a bottle what Britishness is. That was the point I was making. I
Yeah.
was saying if you're trying to bottle Britishness, whatever that is, right? Whatever the traits are, whatever the tenets are, there's some truths and other things we've talked about. Um, then if it's difficult to define because it's based around our basic freedom, right? So you and I are British. We are British because we're relatively free, right? That then becomes inherent trait, which is quite unique. And with freedom, you do need to create a certain framework to allow, the rules of the game to allow freedom, right? Part of which is politeness, part of which is queuing, part of which is, you know, all the basic tenets of what's true and what's not true, what's good, what's wrong.
I,
Um,
I don't think I don't think it's freedom. I think for me, so let's say Starmer turns into Stalin. He's halfway there, but let's say he goes
yeah,
full Stalin,
yeah,
and suddenly we're not free.
yeah,
We're still English.
yeah.
So I don't think it's to do with freedom. We didn't get the right to vote up to 100 years ago. Does that mean before that Englishmen weren't English or weren't British? I don't
No,
think
I
it's
agree with
freedom.
that, but I
Yeah.
would question whether or not what Starmer's doing is British, right? I would, because of the reasons it's not, the trait part of which is freedom. Starmer is certainly not an advocate of freedom,
No,
so I would say he's anti-British.
I think freedom comes into what we believe. Maybe one of the minor points of being English and British in the values. Um, I think we cling to that because, like, we cling to democracy, but we would still be English, we would still be British, we'd still feel English and British without freedom, without democracy. That's why I don't hold too much onto that point.
Yeah, I understand your point. Okay, I understand your point.
Did you enjoy that video? I think you did. Come on now, hit that bell, subscribe, comment. Let's build this channel. I need more followers, I need more subscribers. Be part of the journey. See you soon.